What really goes on behind the curtain in pro wrestling? It turns out it's way messier than fans ever imagined, from Vince McMahon's alleged involvement with female referee Rita Chatterton.
I know Vince McMahon is unzipping his pants. I was pretty shocked at that point. We're talking profession here, and suddenly he wants more than just profession.
To Shawn Michaels getting way too personal with a valet.
He goes, "You feel that?" I went, "Matter of fact, I..."
In wrestling, the line between storyline and scandal is razor thin. These are the wildest times wrestlers got way too close to the people behind the scenes, including the Vince McMahon and Rita Chatterton scandal.
I am the first and still only in the country, to the best of my knowledge.
Rita Chatterton, who made history as WWE's first female referee in 1984, found herself at the center of a major scandal that wouldn't fully come to light until decades later. Known professionally as Rita Marie, she broke significant ground when she donned the black and white stripes in the then WWF, during an era when women in wrestling were primarily valet managers or wrestlers in often sexualized roles. Chatterton's position as an official represented a different kind of opportunity for women in the industry, though her pioneering status would later be overshadowed by serious allegations. In 1992, 6 years after the alleged incident, Chatterton appeared on Geraldo Rivera's television shows to make serious accusations against WWE owner Vince McMahon, claiming that in July 1986, McMahon sexually assaulted her in his limousine after promising to make her a wrestler with a $500,000 contract. These were not minor allegations, as Chatterton said McMahon forced her into oral sex and physically coerced her. When she made these claims on Now It Can Be Told and the Geraldo Rivera show, the statute of limitations had already expired, meaning no criminal charges could be filed. At the time, McMahon denied the allegations, and many dismissed Chatterton's claims, while the wrestling industry, notoriously protective of its power players, left her fighting an uphill battle against one of entertainment's most influential figures.
After a period of time, Vince and all his promises, I was getting less and less.
The story might have remained buried in wrestling's controversial past if not for a 2022 New York Magazine profile by Abraham Reisman that brought Chatterton's allegations back into the spotlight. And what made this revival particularly significant was that former wrestler Leonard Initari, who performed under the ring name Mario Mancini, came forward to corroborate Chatterton's story, marking the first time another wrestling figure had publicly supported her account and lending new credibility to her long-standing claims. The repercussions for Chatterton's career were devastating, as after the alleged incident, she found herself no longer booked for televised appearances and was instead relegated to working untelevised matches, eventually leaving wrestling altogether following the death of Andre the Giant in 1993, who many backstage considered a protective figure, sending a clear message that speaking out had effectively ended her wrestling career. Perhaps most tellingly, WWE later appeared to erase her pioneer status from history, promoting Jessica Carr as their first female referee in 2017, a historical revision not uncommon in WWE, which has frequently rewritten its past to suit current narratives and business interests. The controversy came full circle in December 2022 when Chatterton filed a lawsuit against McMahon, ultimately settled out of court for a multi-million-dollar sum, during a period when McMahon was already under scrutiny for other alleged misconduct, with the Wall Street Journal reporting he had paid $19.6 million in hush money for various sexual misconduct claims between 2006 and 2022. The mid-1990s in WWE, then known as the World Wrestling Federation, was a tumultuous time behind the scenes, with the company struggling financially and locker room morale often at low points, and during this era, one of the most talked about backstage situations involved Tammy Sytch, known to fans as Sunny, and her rumored affair with Shawn Michaels, one of the company's biggest stars. Sunny burst onto the scene as one of wrestling's first modern valets or managers, bringing a combination of stunning looks and charisma that quickly made her the most downloaded woman on AOL in the early days of the internet, and behind the scenes, she was in a long-term relationship with Chris Candido, who performed in the WWF as Skip of the Body Donnas, a team Sunny managed on television. What fans didn't know was that behind the curtain, Sunny and Candido's relationship was going through serious difficulties, and in an explosive interview years later, Sunny revealed details about her affair with Shawn Michaels, confirming what had long been rumored in wrestling circles.
I was standing at the curtain one day watching TV taping, and Shawn walked up in back of me and he's watching over my head. Oh, this is going to get juicy because nobody knows about this stuff.
All right.
He's looking over my head, looking over my head, and all of a sudden he goes, "You feel that?" I went, "Matter of fact, I did."
The affair between Sunny and Shawn Michaels reportedly created significant tension in the locker room, as Michaels was part of a backstage group known as The Clique, which included fellow wrestlers Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Sean Waltman, X-Pac, and later Triple H, a group known for wielding considerable backstage influence that allegedly helped protect Sunny's position in the company during this time. What makes the situation particularly noteworthy was the alleged involvement of WWE owner Vince McMahon, who Sunny claims was aware of and even facilitated the relationship, highlighting the complex and sometimes problematic dynamics that existed in wrestling at that time. The fallout from Sunny's decision was significant, as according to her account, Michael's ego was reportedly bruised by her rejection, and their relationship quickly deteriorated. Shortly after their breakup, Michaels began dating Rebecca Kershey, a former WCW Nitro girl known as Whisper, who he would later marry, and the timing of this new relationship added to the drama, with Sunny claiming it happened remarkably quickly after their split. Sunny's career in WWF began to decline soon after her relationship with Michaels ended, and while multiple factors contributed to her departure from the company in 1998, including alleged substance abuse issues, some have speculated that losing the protection of Michaels in the clique played a role in her diminished position. In the years that followed, both Sunny and Candido faced numerous personal challenges, as Candido passed away in 2005 due to complications from surgery, and Sunny faced highly publicized legal troubles and struggles with addiction. Yet despite these difficulties, her impact on the wrestling business remained significant, having been inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2011 in recognition of her revolutionary role as the original diva. Another backstage affair in WWE involves Bray Wyatt and JoJo Offerman. One of the most discussed WWE backstage relationships of recent years involved Wyatt and ring announcer JoJo Offerman, which became public in 2017 amidst considerable controversy when Wyatt's then-wife Samantha filed for divorce citing infidelity. Court documents obtained by the Daily Mail stated that Samantha's husband was cheating on her with JoJo, though her name wasn't specifically mentioned, and the divorce proceedings included claims that Wyatt was maintaining continuous contact with Offerman during this period. Wyatt, known for his compelling character work as the Eater of Worlds and later the Fiend, initially met Offerman when she joined WWE in 2013 as part of the reality show Total Divas. After struggling with in-ring training, JoJo shifted focus and became a WWE announcer until her quiet departure in 2021. The affair created significant public backlash, with Wyatt eventually confirming his relationship with Offerman in characteristic fashion, responding to a fan on social media, "Because I am the god of man. That's how." Case closed. Despite the controversial beginning, Wyatt and Offerman's relationship ultimately developed into a lasting commitment, with the couple becoming engaged and starting a family together, having 2 children, a son named Nash and a daughter named Hyrie, though they weren't able to marry before Wyatt's untimely passing in 2023 from a heart attack. JoJo has since maintained connections to the wrestling world, supporting the Wyatt Six faction, led by Wyatt's brother Bo Dallas, Taylor Rotunda, who continues aspects of Bray's legacy in WWE. Our next story centers on one of the most powerful couples in wrestling today, but begins with a heartbreaking betrayal that forever altered the trajectory of 3 wrestling careers: Triple H, Chyna, and Stephanie McMahon. In the late 1990s, Paul Levesque, better known to fans as Triple H, was in a serious relationship with Joanie Laurer, who dominated the women's division as the groundbreaking performer Chyna. Their relationship was well known backstage and even occasionally referenced on WWE programming, with the couple appearing together as members of the iconic D-Generation X faction.
How did he take it when you told him that you were dating Triple H?
Well, I feel like he kind of threw us together a little bit, honestly, because
The master manipulator strikes again.
he does, yes, he does.
According to numerous wrestling historians and insiders, Triple H and Chyna's relationship began to deteriorate around 1999, at precisely the same time that Triple H was working an on-screen storyline with Stephanie McMahon, daughter of WWE Chairman Vince McMahon, which involved a controversial Vegas wedding angle where Triple H drugged Stephanie and married her against her will. A storyline that would never make it to television in today's more socially conscious era. What viewers at home didn't realize was that while this fictional romance played out on their screens, a real-life attraction was developing between Triple H and Stephanie behind the scenes, and as the on-screen story evolved, so too did their genuine feelings for one another, eventually blossoming into a legitimate relationship, all while Triple H was still publicly with Chyna. The fallout from this love triangle was swift and decisive, as Chyna, despite being one of the most popular and revolutionary female performers in WWE history, soon found herself pushed out of the company in 2001, with many wrestling insiders suggesting her relationship status with Triple H made her position in the company untenable, especially as Triple H and Stephanie's relationship grew more serious. The years following her WWE departure were challenging for Chyna, as she struggled with substance abuse issues, had a brief and troubled stint in TNA wrestling, and dabbled in the adult entertainment industry, tragically passing away in 2016 from an accidental overdose of prescription medication. Meanwhile, Triple H and Stephanie's relationship continued to flourish both on-screen and off, marrying in 2003 in a lavish ceremony and later having 3 daughters together, and perhaps most significantly, the couple has risen to become 2 of the most powerful executives in WWE, with Triple H serving as Chief Content Officer and Creative Head after Vince McMahon's departure, while Stephanie has served in various executive roles, including Chief Brand Officer. Perhaps no backstage affair in WWE history generated more genuine fan backlash or had a more visible impact on television than the infamous love triangle involving Edge, Lita, and Matt Hardy. This scandal wasn't just discussed in wrestling circles. It became a mainstream story that WWE eventually incorporated into their programming, in one of the most controversial decisions in company history. The saga began in 2005, when Matt Hardy and Amy Dumas, known to fans as Lita, were in a long-term relationship, having been together for nearly 6 years and beloved by fans as a genuine wrestling power couple, with Matt as part of the innovative Hardy Boys tag team and Lita revolutionizing women's wrestling with her high-flying style and punk rock aesthetic. Behind the scenes, Adam Copeland, known as Edge, was one of Matt Hardy's closest friends in the business, and according to reports later confirmed by all parties involved, while Matt was at home recovering from a knee injury, Edge and Lita began an affair. The betrayal might have remained private had it not been for a wrestling fan who spotted Edge and Lita together while she was still publicly in a relationship with Matt, and word quickly spread through the online wrestling community, making the affair common knowledge among fans. When Matt Hardy discovered the betrayal, he was understandably devastated, and in what many considered a questionable decision at the time, Hardy took to his personal blog to express his feelings, making the private matter public, confirming the rumors and expressing his sense of betrayal not just by Lita, but by his close friend, Edge.
No, I'm saying I don't think that I owe you an explanation of my relationship with Edge. Although I can tell you about why I don't want to be with you. You cutting wrestling promos in a personal context could be one excuse that I could tell you.
Okay, great. Well, you are the reason that I'm cutting wrestling promos, and you are the reason why I showed up Monday night, and you are the reason all this began.
WWE's response to the situation was initially to release Matt Hardy, citing that his public airing of private matters was unprofessional, a decision that only fueled fan outrage, as many viewers felt Hardy was the wrong party being punished. At WWE events, fans began chanting, "We want Matt and you screwed Matt," during Edge and Lita's appearances, turning them into perhaps the most genuinely hated villains in recent WWE memory. In a surprising twist, WWE eventually rehired Matt Hardy and decided to incorporate the real-life drama into an on-screen storyline, blurring the lines between fiction and reality in a way that was uncomfortable for many viewers but undeniably compelling television. The rivalry culminated in a series of intensely personal matches between Edge and Hardy throughout 2005, with Lita firmly aligned with Edge as an on-screen couple. Meanwhile, Dave Bautista, better known to wrestling fans as Batista, became one of WWE's biggest stars in the mid-2000s, and with his impressive physique, intense persona, and growing in-ring skills, he rose to become a multi-time world champion and one of the company's most marketable performers. However, behind his rise to superstardom were rumors of a backstage affair that allegedly created significant tension in the WWE locker room, as stories began circulating about a relationship between Batista and Melina Perez, a talented performer who was part of the tag team M&M alongside Joey Mercury and, most significantly, her real-life boyfriend John Morrison, previously known as Johnny Nitro. What made this situation particularly complex was the professional working relationship between all parties involved, as Melina and Morrison weren't just a couple behind the scenes. Their relationship was acknowledged on television as they performed together in M&M, a successful tag team that held the WWE Tag Team Championships multiple times. Meanwhile, Batista was ascending to the main event scene, winning his first World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 21 in 2005, and the alleged affair between Batista and Melina remained in the realm of backstage gossip for years. With none of the parties publicly addressing the rumors, however, the situation took a dramatic turn when Batista published his autobiography, Batista Unleashed, in 2007, making the stunning admission that he had indeed had a relationship with Melina, though he claimed it occurred during a period when she and Morrison had briefly separated. Melina, for her part, denied the affair when the rumors first surfaced, though she never publicly addressed Batista's claims in his autobiography, while Morrison remained largely silent, maintaining a professional demeanor despite what must have been a difficult situation personally and professionally. The impact of this alleged affair on the careers of those involved is hard to measure precisely, but some wrestling observers have suggested it may have affected Morrison's standing in the company, as despite his impressive athleticism and charisma, he never reached the main event level in WWE during this run, leading some to speculate that the backstage drama may have influenced how management perceived him. Batista, meanwhile, continued his ascent to becoming one of WWE's top stars, suggesting that if there was any backstage heat from the situation, it didn't significantly impact his career trajectory, and this disparity in consequences has been noted by critics as an example of the double standards that sometimes exist in the wrestling business.
He's the manimal. He probably walked in dragging his hairy knuckles on the floor and did something like this, huh? Look at me, huh? I'm a Batista. I shoot the lasers from my hands like I'm 8 years old.
In the years following the controversy, all three performers moved on professionally, with Batista leaving WWE in 2010, though he returned for subsequent runs and successfully transitioned into Hollywood, becoming a household name through his role as Drax in the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise, while Morrison departed WWE in 2011, finding success in other wrestling promotions before eventually returning in 2019, and Melina continued her wrestling career in WWE until 2011, establishing herself as one of the most athletic and innovative female performers of her era. When it comes to scandals that transcended wrestling and became mainstream news, few compare to the explosive situation involving Hulk Hogan, radio personality Bubba the Love Sponge, and Bubba's then-wife Heather Clem, a scandal that not only damaged reputations but ultimately led to a landmark legal case that brought down a major media company and raised serious questions about privacy and journalism ethics. Hulk Hogan, whose real name is Terry Bollea, was arguably the biggest star in wrestling history, having been the face of WWE, then WWF, during its national expansion in the 1980s, and by the 2000s, he had transitioned into more of a celebrity figure, appearing in reality shows and maintaining his status as a pop culture icon. During this period, he developed a friendship with Todd Allen Clem, better known as Bubba the Love Sponge, a shock jock notorious for his controversial and often explicit radio program. The scandal erupted when a sex tape featuring Hogan and Heather Clem, Bubba's wife at the time, was leaked and partially published by the website Gawker in 2012, a video that had apparently been recorded several years earlier around 2007 without Hogan's knowledge or consent. The revelation shocked the wrestling world and mainstream media alike, not just because of the explicit nature of the content, but because it suggested a troubling betrayal of friendship, with Bubba even discussing the situation on the Howard Stern show in a manner that raised more eyebrows, suggesting he had allowed or even encouraged his wife's relationship with Hogan.
Check out this clip from the Howard Stern show.
And you used to say to me that you would let me have your wife. I could have had her, right?
Yeah, you should have got in on that party.
When pressed by Stern about whether he had watched the encounter, Bubba denied it, though many skeptics questioned this claim given the existence of the recording.
Talk to you about it.
No.
But you must have liked watching, right?
I wasn't watching.
You never watched the tape?
Never watched the tape.
The fallout from the Hogan scandal was enormous, as Hogan filed lawsuits against Bubba the Love Sponge, Heather Clem, and Gawker Media, ultimately settling with Bubba and Heather out of court, while his lawsuit against Gawker went to trial and resulted in a stunning $140 million judgment in Hogan's favor in 2016. A verdict that led to Gawker's bankruptcy and raised major questions about privacy rights, especially for public figures. The relationship between Bubba and Heather also ended in divorce, with the scandal likely contributing to their separation. While this scandal didn't originate in WWE's locker room like many of the others discussed, it had a profound impact on wrestling's biggest historical star and the industry as a whole, serving as a stark reminder of how the personal lives of wrestling personalities can become public fodder in the age of the internet and how quickly decades of reputation building can be damaged by scandal. With his clean-cut image, tireless work ethic, and appeal to younger audiences, John Cena became not just a wrestling superstar but a mainstream celebrity who carried WWE on his shoulders for over a decade, though behind this carefully cultivated public image were rumors of a backstage affair that allegedly created tension in the locker room. According to wrestling insiders and reports, Cena was rumored to have had a relationship with fellow WWE performer Mickie James around 2008 to 2009, a situation made more complicated by the fact that Mickie was reportedly engaged to another WWE wrestler, Kenny Dykstra, who performed as Kenny Dunya at the time the alleged affair began. The rumors gained credibility when Dykstra, after his WWE release, made public statements suggesting he had discovered text messages between Cena and Mickie that confirmed his suspicions about their relationship, and according to Dykstra's account, when he confronted WWE management, he was the one who faced professional consequences, eventually leaving the company in 2008. Interestingly, some fans have interpreted a backstage segment captured on camera as showing tension between Cena and Mickie James, though the exact nature of their interaction remains ambiguous.
I don't understand. I guess it's just because they see a beautiful woman and, obviously they think I have other interests.
I mean, just saying.
Thank you. But I wanted to apologize for the gossip of everyone else.
Despite the persistent rumors, neither John Cena nor Mickie James has ever publicly confirmed that they had a relationship, leaving the situation largely in the realm of wrestling rumor rather than confirmed fact, unlike some of the other affairs we've discussed that were eventually acknowledged by the participants. For Mickie James, the situation is more nuanced, as while she remained with WWE until 2010, some observers have suggested that her character direction changed following the alleged affair, moving her away from main storylines. After leaving WWE, James found success in TNA Wrestling, now Impact Wrestling, before eventually returning to WWE in 2016 for another run. The alleged affair between Cena and James highlights once again the complex power dynamics that can exist in professional wrestling, where personal relationships often intersect with professional opportunities in ways that benefit some while potentially harming others, and it also demonstrates how differently these situations can play out depending on a performer's standing within the company hierarchy. In an era where digital privacy has become increasingly fragile, perhaps no wrestling scandal better illustrates this vulnerability than the situation involving Paige, Brad Maddox, and Xavier Woods, which unfolded in 2017 and represented a troubling invasion of privacy with profound personal and professional consequences, particularly for Paige. The scandal erupted when private, intimate videos and photos of Paige were leaked online without her consent, some including fellow WWE performers Brad Maddox, with whom Paige had been in a relationship, and Xavier Woods. The leak was part of a larger hacking scandal that targeted numerous female celebrities during this period, and the public exposure of these private moments had an immediate and devastating impact on Paige, who later revealed she suffered from depression, anxiety, and anorexia, and in a poignant moment from the documentary Fighting with My Family, she discussed how close she came to suicide during this dark period.
Call your mom.
Tuck in your cat.
And delete your Twitter.
WWE's handling of the Paige situation was complex, as while the company didn't formally discipline her for being the victim of a privacy violation, the incident coincided with a difficult period in her career, since Paige was already serving a suspension for a wellness policy violation and recovering from neck surgery when the leak occurred. And the combination of these factors, along with the emotional toll of the scandal, contributed to a lengthy absence from television. Paige eventually returned to WWE in late 2017, but her in-ring career was cut short when she suffered a neck injury that forced her into retirement from active competition in 2018 at just 25 years old, and while the injury was unrelated to the scandal, it meant Paige never had the opportunity to fully redefine her WWE legacy in the ring after the controversy. In the years since, Paige has shown remarkable resilience, transitioning into non-wrestling roles within WWE, including a stint as the acting general manager of SmackDown and manager for the tag team of Asuka and Kairi Sane, and she has spoken candidly about her experiences, using her platform to advocate against cyberbullying and the non-consensual sharing of intimate images. Paige departed WWE in 2022 when her contract expired, subsequently joining All Elite Wrestling under her real name, Saraya, with her journey representing both the devastating consequences of privacy violations in the digital age and the possibility of rebuilding and reclaiming one's narrative. Another high-profile WWE backstage relationship that sparked controversy involved commentator Corey Graves, born Matthew Polinsky, and wrestler Carmella, which became public knowledge in February 2019 under dramatic circumstances, after Amy Polinsky, Graves' wife at the time, posted a now-deleted Instagram message accusing him of having an affair with Carmella, writing, "This may be totally below me to do, but I'm hurt. I'm sad. I put 11 years into supporting a man to accomplish his dream, only for him to punch me in the gut," and the accusation created immediate backlash against both Graves and Carmella, with Carmella later revealing in an interview with E! Network that she was getting death threats and hearing all these awful things said about me. However, both Graves and Carmella strongly denied that their relationship began as an affair, asserting that it only started when Corey's divorce proceedings were already in progress, and his ex-wife eventually deleted the accusatory post from social media. Despite the challenging start, the couple's relationship flourished both personally and professionally, becoming part of WWE storylines and featured prominently in the 9th season of Total Divas, the reality show following female WWE performers, and in 2020, they launched a podcast called Bear With Us, discussing relationship issues including their own. Their romance reached major milestones with their engagement in October 2021 and marriage in April 2022 in a star-studded WWE affair attended by Jon Moxley, Renee Paquette, Natalya and Tyson Kidd, Happy Baron Corbin, Liv Morgan, Tamina Snuka, Bayley, and Sonya Deville, and they have continued to build their family, welcoming their first child, son Dmitry Paul Polinsky. In November 2023, after Carmela endured a 60-hour labor, and in April 2025, they announced they were expecting their second child together, with Graves also having 3 children from his previous marriage.